Hello, my friend, and welcome back to English Teaching Friends. I'm so happy that you're here with me today. In this podcast, we learn real English in a calm, simple, and friendly way. I speak slowly and clearly so that you can relax, listen, and enjoy the language without feeling stressed. Today's topic is very special. We are going to talk about how to think in English. Many learners dream about this. They say, I want to think in English like a native speaker, but they don't know how to start. Maybe you also feel this way. You listen to English, you read English, but inside your head, you still use your own language. That's normal. That's how most people begin. In this episode, I will guide you step by step and show you how you can slowly, gently train your brain to think more and more in English every day. First, let's talk about why thinking in English is so important. When most learners speak English, they translate in their mind. Imagine this. Someone asks you a question in English. First, you hear the English words. Then you translate them into your language. Then you think of an answer in your language. Then you translate your answer back into English. Then you say it. This is a lot of work for your brain. It takes time, it makes speaking slow, and it makes you feel nervous. Sometimes, while you are translating, the conversation has already moved on. Maybe you have experienced this in real life. You want to say something, but by the time you are ready, the moment is gone. That can feel frustrating. Thinking in English changes this. When you think in English, you don't need to translate every word. You hear English, you understand English, and you answer in English, all inside the same language. Everything becomes faster, lighter, and easier. Your brain uses less energy. Your sentences come out more naturally. You feel more confident because you are not fighting with two languages at the same time. Thinking in English is not magic. It is just a habit that you build slowly, the same way you build any other habit, like exercising or brushing your teeth. And the good news is this: you can start building this habit even if your English is very simple. You do not need advanced grammar. You do not need thousands of words. Simple English is enough. Let's start with the first step. Step 1 is very small, but very powerful. Naming what you see. This is the easiest way to begin thinking in English, and you can do it from the moment you wake up. When you open your eyes in the morning, look around your room and quietly name objects in English. You might think bed, pillow, blanket, window, curtain, door, phone, charger, water bottle. You don't even need full sentences at this stage, just one word at a time. When you stand up and walk to the bathroom, you can continue. Mirror, sink, toothbrush, toothpaste, towel. When you go to the kitchen, cup, plate, spoon, rice, tea, coffee. You're training your brain to connect English words directly to real things in your life. You're not translating pillow from your language to English. You are simply seeing a pillow and thinking pillow. This is the first level of thinking in English. You might be thinking, but this is too easy. That's exactly the point. When something is easy, your brain does not feel scared. It relaxes and learns better. If you try to think with big, difficult sentences from the beginning, you will feel tired and uncomfortable. But if you start with simple words, your brain will say, ah, this is easy. I can do this. And it will happily repeat the process again and again. Over time, these small English thoughts will become automatic. After a few days of naming objects, you can move to step 2, thinking in simple sentences. Instead of only saying bed, you can say, this is my bed. Instead of window, you can think, the window is open. When you're brushing your teeth, you can think, I am brushing my teeth. When you're making breakfast, you can think, I am cooking breakfast, or I am making tea. These are very short sentences, but they are complete thoughts in English. You are not just naming things, you are describing actions and situations. You can use 3 very simple sentence patterns again and again. The first pattern is I am plus verb ing. For example, I am walking, I am eating, I am working, I am studying, I am resting. The second pattern is I have. For example, I have a meeting, I have a new Ken, I have 2 sisters, I have homework. The third pattern is I feel. For example, I feel tired, I feel happy, I feel angry, I feel relaxed, I feel hungry. These 3 patterns alone can create many natural English thoughts during your day. You don't need more complicated grammar to start thinking in English. These basic patterns are enough for now. Next, we move to step 3, describing what you are doing in the present moment. This is similar to the previous step, but we will stay connected to the exact action you are doing right now. For example, imagine you are walking down the street. In your mind, you can say, I am walking to the bus stop. I am looking at the shops. I am waiting for the traffic light. If you are cooking, you can think, I am cutting vegetables. I am boiling water. I am frying eggs. If you are studying, you can think, I am reading this page. I am writing notes. I am listening to a video. This helps your brain to stay in English for longer stretches of time, not just for one word or one sentence. You might want to create a small rule for yourself. Whenever you remember, try to describe your current action in English. Even if it is only one simple sentence like, I am sitting on the bus, or I am washing the dishes, it still counts. These small moments build the habit. You do not have to do it all day. Even a few minutes here and there are enough. Remember, we are building a habit, not trying to be perfect. Now, let's talk about step 4, having mini conversations with yourself in English. Don't worry, this is not crazy. All humans talk to themselves in their mind. We ask ourselves questions and we answer. We make plans. We think about our feelings. We can use this natural inner voice to practice English. For example, in the morning, you can think, what do I need to do today? I need to go to work. I need to send an email. I need to buy some fruit. Then you ask another question. What time is my meeting? My meeting is at 3 o'clock. In the evening, you might think, how was my day? My day was busy, but it was good. I learned something new today. You don't need to speak out loud. You can keep the conversation inside your mind. But if you are alone and you feel comfortable, speaking softly can also help. The important thing is that both the question and the answer are in English. At first, your mini conversations will be very short. That's okay. Over time, they will become longer and more detailed. Maybe you will even start to complain in English, or celebrate in English, or tell yourself jokes in English. When that happens, you will know that your brain is really starting to think in English. Step 5 is using small English time blocks during your day. A time block is just a short period of time, like 5 minutes or 10 minutes, when you decide to use only English in your mind. For example, you could say to yourself, for the next 5 minutes while I walk to the train station, I will think only in English. During that time block, you try your best to not use your own language inside your head. You name objects, describe actions, ask yourself questions, and answer them, all in easy English. If you don't know how to say something, you skip it or use a simpler idea. When the time block ends, you can relax and go back to your normal thinking. Maybe later in the day, you try another 5-minute block. These time blocks are very powerful because they give your brain a clear signal. Now we are in English mode. You are not trying to think in English all day, which would be very tiring. You are just giving yourself short, focused practice sessions. 5 minutes may sound small, but if you do it 3 or 4 times a day, you can easily collect 15 or 20 minutes of English thinking. And that, done every day, is a lot. Of course, even with all these steps, your brain will sometimes want to translate. That's normal. Translation is a habit that you have used for many years, so it will not disappear in 1 week. That's why step 6 is learning to reduce translation gently, not with force. When you notice that you are translating every word, don't be angry with yourself. Don't say, I'm failing. Instead, just try to replace some translated dots with simpler English thoughts. For example, maybe you want to say in your language, this situation is extremely frustrating and complicated. You don't know how to say frustrating or complicated in English. That's okay. You can choose a simpler idea. This is difficult, or I don't like this. The idea is not exactly the same, but it's close enough. You are still thinking in English, and that's the main goal. Step 7 is using your interests. Thinking in English is easier when you actually care about the topic. If you like cooking,